What's up, YouTube? My name is Bill. This is KO Bets. Thanks for tuning in. Before I get started, please like the stream, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate your support tremendously. NFT update, we're at 67 subscribers still, so we'll do that at 100 subscribers. We had fights last week. We had UFC Fight Night Almeida versus Lewis to recap. Then we'll get into the UFC 295 breakdown. From there, we'll get into trending topics. So let's get it going. I'm going to turn off the music here now. There we go. All right. So first, we got to go over last week. We had UFC Sao Paulo, Almeida taking on Derek Lewis. Jailton Almeida with a super dominant, win, but I don't think anyone expected a 5-round decision in that fight, so that was kind of crazy. I think Jailton Almeida was the safe pick. I'm not gonna lie, I sprinkled a little money on Derek Lewis to win a first-round knockout. And also on the under 1.5, I had that in a lot of parlays. So, yeah, that wasn't the best outcome for the main event. But, the fight to go the distance was like plus 1,100 odds. So 11-1. Congrats if you cashed on that. Gabriel Bonfim, the biggest favorite on the card, loses to Nicolas Dalby via third-round KO. Just was gassed out from the pressure of Nicolas Dalby. He was in his face the whole fight. And, started to wear down, break, and ultimately Dalby gets that third-round finish. And Gabriel Bonfim just had... it was a late second-round finish. He just had nothing left in the gas tank after the second round. So, really good win for Dalby. Really good odds at plus 455. Not sure what the KO was, but... probably outstanding. Rodrigo Nascimento, he wins this fight very comfortably. Looked really good on the feet. Doesn't get any takedowns. It looks like Dontel Mays might have had an advantage on the scorecard, but I thought Rodrigo won. I thought it was a close fight. I thought he won a convincing first round, and from there it just didn't seem like anyone took the fight. Barallo with a great 3-round decision victory against Abus. Abus definitely managed his gas tank a little bit better and made it a tough fight for Barallo. This was another one I didn't think was going to go the distance. Elvis Brenner wins. Draw between Renat and Elizu. Man, Renat definitely took the first 2 rounds, but then I think, round 3 might have been a 10-8 is what we were saying. So, ends up being a draw. Victor Petrino gets the second round KO. Looked really, really good again. Denise Gomes against Angela Hill. I thought it was a closer fight, but Denise Gomes didn't have an answer for the takedowns. Montserrat Ruiz gets knocked out in the second round against Mora making her debut, and then good picking for a decision victory for Mark Diakese, who goes out there and just continues to grapple at an effective level. Good pick there. I thought he won a unanimous decision, but ends up being a split decision. So hoping to bounce back, have a better week this week. For Prochazka against Pereira, we've got 13 fights to go over. I had to add another. I use Excel to jot down notes, and I had to add another column because I don't think I've done, since switching to this method, I don't think I've had a bigger card to break down. Dennis Bazucha taking on Jamal Emmers. Dennis is 11-3 professionally. Jamal Emmers 19-7. Jamal Emmers, let's just start with him. He's on a 1-fight losing streak. Notable wins. I saw he's got a win over Corey Sandhagen, but then the resume is just tremendous. Even though their losses, Jack Jenkins, Pat Sabatini, Iga Chikadze, Julian Erosa, Thiago Moises. He's super talented as a fighter, just doesn't always have the best game plan. Good power, good grappler, well-rounded, and I think this is the easiest opponent he's faced in a while. Definitely easier than Jack Jenkins, who's just a difficult puzzle to solve for with that low kick. Yeah, I think he should win this fight pretty comfortably against Dennis, who's 0-1 in the UFC. All 3 of his losses have been decision losses, so I think I'm going to roll with Jamal Emmers via decision. Jamal Emmers is the favorite at -245. Odds makers like this to go the distance as well. And as far as a winning method, I like the Jamal Emmers decision. Yeah. Joshua Van taking on Kevin Borjas. Joshua Van 8-1 professionally. Borjas 9-1. Borjas is making his debut. Joshua Van is 1-0 in the UFC. Came in on short notice and beat Zalgas Zumagulov. So really impressive debut win. 7 out of 8 of his victories come inside the distance. His only loss was a submission. Same with Kevin Borjas. 8 out of his wins come via KO. I mean, this should be a really exciting fight against a couple of really talented young prospects who should be really good in this division for a long time. Borjas, super tough, good cardio, good striker. Joshua Van, well-rounded, good power. I would say grapples a little bit more than Borjas. Is probably a little more technically sound in the striking department too. Was showing really good power, good cardio. Has a couple of submission wins on his resume. Even though he does also have the loss, but you can see 100% of his wins, 7 out of his 8 wins inside the distance. So I think this is a really good fight. I think the difference is going to come down to the defense with both of these fighters. I don't think Kevin Borjas has the best striking defense. Was he a Dana White Contender Series guy? I know we've seen him before. Doesn't have the best takedown striking defense. Is very tough and durable, but I like Joshua Van to win minutes if that's the case, do more damage to the face, and maybe even hurt Kevin Borjas, who's gotten hurt for sure before in his UFC career, and he's not been in the UFC, in his MMA career, and it's never good to block punches with your face. See, Joshua Van is the favorite at -245. I don't fault you for taking Borjas if you do. Odds makers don't like this to go the distance. I mean, I'd have to agree. I guess I'm banking on Borjas' defense to be terrible, and then Joshua Van finds the KO shot. So the next fight is John Castaneda taking on Young Ho Kang. Castaneda's on a 1-fight win streak, is 3-2 in the UFC. Young Ho Kang is on a 2-fight win streak, is 8-3 in the UFC with a no contest. Castaneda had a great win against Muin Gufarov, his last fight out. Also has a solid win over Miles John. I'm kind of back and forth on this one. We've seen John Castaneda get outstruck before by opponents. Kong is definitely improving his striking. I don't see this. Both fighters are capable grapplers, but I don't really see this playing out on the ground because of that. I think it'll be more of a stand-up approach from these two fighters. Maybe Castaneda initiates some offensive grappling because he does like to push fighters up against the fence, try to get double legs, but I know I've seen that before. Kong, though, I think is a good enough grappler where he could get up, bring it back to the feet, where I just think he's going to have a little bit of an advantage over Castaneda. So I think it's going to be a really, really close fight on the feet. I think it could swing either way. I've been back and forth on this one, to be honest. I'm going to go with Kong, assuming this stays on the feet. And if Castaneda initiates grappling, he's able to stuff those. So plus 110. Fight to go the distance. Odds makers say yes. I'd have to agree with that. Although Castaneda, I think he did lose knockout to Daniel Santos, didn't he? Yeah, second round knockout, just kind of got beat up in that fight. But did really well against Gufarov, who throws hard. Outstruck him. Let me go with Kong. Let me go with Kong here. I'm going to go with Kong. Wow, the KO's crazy at plus 110. I might sprinkle a little of that. But I do think the decision is the most likely outcome for this fight. For the next fight, we've got Jared Gordon taking on Mark Madsen. Mark Madsen, the Olympian wrestler. I think he's like a bronze medalist. 4-1 in the UFC, coming off of a loss to Grant Dawson. Lost via submission in round 3. His decision wins, he's got a lot of decision wins, and he's 6-0 in decisions. But so far, I don't think Jared Gordon's Austin Hubbard, Clay Guida, Vince Pichel. I think he's a step up from those opponents he's been able to beat. Is Jared Gordon as good as Grant Dawson? Probably not, because he's got a loss to him. But yeah, I think this is maybe a step down from Grant Dawson, but a step up from the other competition Marco Madsen's face. So it's good matchmaking on his side. For Jared's side, I think this is a good matchup. You're facing an Olympic grappler who's going to be probably the minute winner, I would imagine, in round 1. But Jared Gordon's got great cardio. We've seen Mark Madsen's cardio give out. He's also a really good wrestler in his own right. And then I just think he's a better striker, carries the better cardio. So I like him to win rounds 2 and 3, potentially put away Mark outside of the first round. He's 11-1 in decisions, but if this is heading towards a decision, he can't get passive. He did that against Paddy Pimblett. Thought he was up 2-0, which he arguably was, and just kind of got passive in that third, and honestly probably should have taken all 3 rounds, but just can't get passive. You're facing Mark Madsen, who's a great competitor, but does gas out in his fights. So don't, just keep the pressure on him, and you could probably put him away with your style. So let me get Jared Gordon here on the money line. Jared Gordon is the favorite at minus 205. Looking at the odds makers like this to go the distance. I think there might be a little bit of value on, Jared Gordon getting him out of there early, just because Mark Madsen does have such a grapple-heavy approach. It's just hard to keep up that pace for 3 whole rounds, especially if you're fighting another good grappler. And then his striking just isn't very good. So I'm going to be paying attention for sure at the live odds, because I think he could take round 1. And then maybe the odds swing more in Mark's favor, and you could get plus money on a Jared Gordon prior to round 2, or maybe live during round 2. So let me get Jared Gordon. Kind of like the value on the finish. Nazim Sadikov taking on Vyacheslav Borshev. This was another one I've been kind of back and forth on. Sadikov 9-1 professionally, Borshev 7-3, 2-2 in the UFC for Borshev, 2-0 in the UFC for Nazim. Nazim's a really good fighter. 8 out of 9 of his wins come inside the distance. He's a good striker. But when you're facing Vyacheslav, you have to grapple, because this guy is just incredibly dangerous on the feet. His hands are so fast. He's got good power. He hurts all of his opponents, and then it's just the easiest path to victory. His takedown defense is terrible. He gets taken down in both of his UFC losses, 11 times by Mark Diakisi, 9 times by Mike Davis. He did get back to his feet. If you're getting taken down that much, that means you at least got back to your feet. Sadikov should grapple with Borshev. The only issue is we haven't seen Nazim really initiate grappling in his professional career, but he's clearly going to have an advantage there. So I think if the game plan's good, and if he shows us something he's never shown us before in grapples, that's great. I'm not sure how he'll hold up with 15 minutes of grappling, conditioning-wise, but, that's definitely the path to victory for him. I think the fight plays out more on the feet. That's my opinion, and I think as a result, Borshev hurts Nazim, gets some sort of finish, probably round 1 or round 2 in this fight. So I'm going to go with the underdog, the Slavic Claus, Borshev. Odds makers do not like this to go the distance. It's weird. He's not the favorite, but the worst odds are on the Borshev KO. I think if Sadikov wins, it's a decision, personally. The next fight is Mateus Rebecki taking on Roosevelt Roberts. Mateus Rebecki, 2-0 in the UFC, coming off of Contender Series, is just an extremely fun fighter to watch. Really, really good. Terrific grappling. His last fight was against who was that against? It was a decision. Oh no, it was a second round KO. Sorry, his first fight. That's the one I'm thinking of. He's just he was throwing punches so hard. It was like, oh my gosh, he's gonna gas out after the first round. And then it's the second round, and he's still throwing a lot of volume and just throwing incredible power on his strikes. You're like, okay, he's not going to make it to the third throwing like this. Then he goes out in the third and does the same thing, keeps it going. So you can tell he carries his power for all 15 minutes, and that's impressive given his stand-up approach. Taking on Roosevelt Roberts, who left the UFC, was 4-3 with 1 no contest in his initial stint, is now back. 15 out of 18 of Sadikov's wins are inside of the distance. 2 out of 3 of Roberts' losses, 1 KO, 1 sub-loss, come inside the distance. I mean, you gotta like Rebecki here in this spot. He's a tremendous fighter. I kind of like the finish just because of his approach in general. He's mean. Carries a lot of power, terrific grappler, like I said. So I'm gonna for sure go with Rebecki He's now minus 700. Biggest favorite on the card. Odds makers do not like this to go the distance. Yeah, I mean, just the way he was swinging his last fight, I kind of like the KO. Man, I thought I was going to be sneaky and throw out the Rebecca round 1 KO at plus 250. I'm thinking of like, wasn't it Gufaraw's debut against it was over in London. No, never mind. But I kind of like him to just come out there and stun Roberts early and win this one pretty quickly. So I like the quick finish for Rebecca in this fight. Probably a KO. But definitely pretty confident in Rebecca winning that fight. Tabitha Ricci taking on Lupita Godinez. Lupi Godinez. Lupi is on a 3-fight win streak. Ricci's on a 4-fight win streak. I mean, I've been kind of going back and forth on this fight. I don't think I'm a big fan of Lupi. I think she's really competitive. She's 8-3 in decisions. She's got great grappling, good output on the feet. She's just kind of, I think, fallen short against good opponents, and I think if she beats Tabitha Ricci, this will be the best win on her resume. Had a loss to Angela Hill, Luana Carolina, Jessica Penne, and then she's just beating some not so great competition. On the flip side, Ricci lost her debut to Manon Fiorot, and then it has rattled off 4 straight wins, has beaten Jillian Robertson, Jessica Penne, Pollyanna Viana, who Lupi could arguably beat as well, but just I think she's facing a little bit better competition. Comparing these two, I think Lupi's striking has been improving, so I like her to be the better striker, but I do think this fight is gonna play out on the mat at some point. Like, man, I gotta go with Lupi. I think she's gonna be in there for all 3 rounds. I'm really interested to see this fight. I just don't feel like I have a good read on it. Ricci could outclass her. She's a terrific grappler in her own right, but I think the striking difference is greatly in Lupi's favor. And then I think from a offensive wrestling perspective, Lupi likes to press forward and put her opponents on their back feet. So I like her to be the fighter who's marching forward, and I think that'll help her in the grappling as well. So odds makers like this to go the distance at minus 360. I would agree. And they like the Lupi decision, which I would agree with. So the next fight is Steve Erceg taking on Alessandro Costa. Steve Erceg is on a 1-fight win streak, 1-0 in the UFC. Came in on short notice as a big underdog and beat David Dvorak in his debut, which was just a crazy performance. Really good striking, really good grappling. Good fighter. Alessandro Costa, another solid fighter. Lost his debut to Amir Albazi, then came back and beat Jimmy Flick. This is a short notice fight for Alessandro, who's stepping in. Forget who. Is it Matt Snell? Yeah, it's Matt Snell. And yeah, I mean, I think he's a really good fighter, but I think stepping in on short notice against Urseg and what we saw from Urseg in his first fight is going to be a difficult task. He's got 2 KO losses, also has a decision loss on his record. I think he's a good grappler and also carries good power, but I think the longer this fight goes, the more it's going to sway in Steve's favor, and Steve could even hurt him, I think, in this fight. So I'm going to go with Steve Urseg to win this fight, favored at minus 198. It's a pick 'em basically that this goes the distance or not. I'm going to say no, and I'm going to roll with the Urseg KO just for better odds. But we'll see. Diego Lopez taking on Pat Sabatini. Diego Lopez is... the hair is crazy. It's wild. He's coming in on a 1-fight win streak, is 1-1 in the UFC. Pat Sabatini's on a 1-fight win streak, is 5-1 in the promotion. We'll start with Pat Sabatini. He's a really, really good grappler. Offensive grappler, persistent, shoots for a lot of takedowns. Isn't the most efficient with his takedowns, is what I've noticed as the competition has gotten tougher. Isn't as efficient, but once he gets on top, he's just really good in top position, really heavy. Doesn't really let his opponents get back up, so you definitely could not get back to your feet if the fight does get to the ground in any given round. So Diego Lopez, though, he brings a lot of interesting tools to this fight. He's got 12 submission victories. He's a terrific jiu-jitsu artist, and he's got a ton of armbar submissions. I know Pat Sabatini has a professional armbar loss where he let that thing break, and it was ugly. It's an ugly clip. But I think you hopefully learn your lesson. He's fought against some decent grapplers. Damon Jackson would have probably been an opponent who would have been really dangerous from a submission perspective, but he just came out there and he just absolutely destroyed Pat Sabatini in round 1. That was kind of a crazy fight. He was super emotional. I think he had lost a family member and just went out there and destroyed Pat Sabatini in round 1. So I think if you like this to go to a decision, Diego Lopez is 2-4 in decision. He's got 2 knockout losses. Even if you don't think he's going to get finished by Pat Sabatini, I don't expect Pat to get a submission win. The 2-4 in decisions, it isn't good. What I think is going to happen is I think Pat Sabatini's he's gonna get top control. He's gonna be in the guard of Diego Lopez, and it's just up to him to stay safe, not try and do too much, and just get a 3-round decision win. So I'm gonna roll with Pat Sabatini to win, and just stay safe in the guard of Lopez here. Odds makers like Pat Sabatini as well. It's close to a pick 'em. They do not like this to go the distance. I do like this to go the distance, and I like the Pat Sabatini decision. Diego Lopez submission is a sneaky bet, I think. Just maybe a good hedge even, just because we've seen Pat get submitted before, and Lopez is really dangerous, but I think he's just going to lose minutes in this fight and not going to be able to find that armbar submission victory. We've got Matt Frivola taking on Benoit Saint Denis. Benoit Saint Denis is coming in off of 4 straight wins, lost his debut to Elizeu dos Santos. Matt Frivola is coming off of 3 straight wins. Both of these guys have had just crazy fights recently. Frivola, he's got he's coming off of 4 straight round 1 finishes. Not, I mean, including a loss to Terrence McKinney, but 4 fights in a row that have ended inside the first round involving Matt Favola. So he's super entertaining, good wrestler, big power. Did the unthinkable in KOing Drew Dober his last time out in the first round. And he's taken on the God of War, Benoit Saint Denis, who's just been nasty. I did pick against him, Thiago Moises, and he just destroyed Thiago. He destroyed Ismail Bonfim. He is awesome, super tough, durable. Even against Elizu, he was hurt bad multiple times in that fight, but it ends up losing a decision. But yeah, he might have gotten dropped even by Elizu, but just kept it together, made it the 15 minutes. 4 straight wins inside the distance, a KO submission. All 12 of his wins are finishes. So I think we've got a car crash here. I think it's going to be, I think somebody's knocking someone out in this fight. Benoit's super popular. Favorite here in this fight at, let's see, minus 230. I'm rolling with Steamroller Favola to get the knockout win. I think if he doesn't, Benoit gets the knockout win. Odds makers don't like this to go the distance. I agree. But I'm going to go with the underdog Favola. I think just, he's got huge punching power in his own right. He's a good grappler. Just stylistically, how he fights, it is kind of a coin flip, right? If you're just looking for a first round finish, it is a coin flip. So, and also like looking at what Benoit Saint Denis did against Thiago Moises, I'm kind of remembering this. He ripped off like so many body kicks that went unchecked, and I can't remember. I don't think they were lead leg body kicks. I think they were back leg body kicks, but it's just like Favola doesn't have that same style where he's just going to stand there and let you rip off those body shots like that. I think he's just going to step forward and try and find your chin. So it should be a really, really good fight. Someone's going to get knocked out, which is exciting. And, I'm going to roll with the underdog in Favola. Jessica Andrade taking on Mackenzie Dern. Jessica Andrade has lost 3 times. She's been around for forever as a really accomplished, terrific fighter. But she's having her 5th fight. This will be her 5th fight of 2023, and she is citing some, personal stuff for why she basically needs money, is what she's saying. And, it's unfortunate because, she should be probably fighting more like 3 times a year, which I'm sure she wants to, but it's personal stuff, she's going through a divorce is what she says, and she's got to like pay for a bunch of different expenses or something with that. So I think Dern's going through a divorce too. And these ladies are going to scrap it out, take out their anger on each other. Mackenzie Dern's on a 1-fight win streak, is 8-3 in the UFC. It's true. They're both coming off of divorces, but I just feel bad for Andrade because she's like, this Crystal. This is the 5th time she's fighting this year, and she's lost 3 fights in a row, and she's like saying she has to pay for bills and stuff, and it's just like it's a crummy spot to be in, and she's probably gonna lose again. I'm going to go with Mackenzie Dern to snatch up some sort of submission in this fight. She's got 7 submission victories. Andrade hasn't been the most durable as of late. So give me Mackenzie Dern to win this fight. She is the favorite at minus 218. Odds makers don't like this to go the distance. I agree, and I like the Dern submission. For the co-main event, we've got, honestly, a much better fight than Stipe versus Jones. I still want to see Stipe versus Jones, but we're about to see the 2 most highly touted prospects in the, they're prospects, right? They have had relatively short UFC careers. Tom said they both had 7 UFC fights, so this is their first title shot, both of them. And I just think one of these fighters, I don't think John's gonna fight either one of these guys personally. That's just my opinion. I think he beats Stipe. He rides off into the setting sun. He says, "Congrats, Tom. Sergey. You're the champ when I'm gone." And that's how I think it plays out. I cannot see John wanting any part of either one of these guys, and that's not against John Jones, and that's not saying he couldn't beat either one of these fighters, because I think he would fare better against Sergey than he would against Tom. But it's just, my point I'm trying to make is I think whoever wins this fight will be the best heavyweight in the world. It would have been so sweet to see both of these fighters go up against Francis Ngannou, have Ngannou still in the mix. I think those would have been really interesting fights. I would have really liked Tom's approach against Ngannou. Sergey would have met punching power with punching power. It's probably a little more quick, clean, technical than Francis. But anyways, we've got a different fight. These guys are fighting each other. So Sergey Pavlovich, coming off of 6 consecutive round 1 KO finishes in the UFC. I don't know what the record is. It might be that. 16 out of 19 of his fights have ended in the first round, including his 1 loss to Alistair Overeem. Fast hands, big power. 15 out of 18 wins via KO. He's 3-0 in decisions. Tom Aspinall, he came back from injuries last fight against Marcin Tybura. Just looked absolutely tremendous. Also, great athlete with speed and power. All 13 of his wins are finishes, 10 KO victories, 3 submission victories, 4 straight round 1 finishes. 13 out of 16 of his fights have ended inside round 1. And man, this is like Almeida. I mean, it's a little different than Almeida and Derek Lewis, right? Of course, but it's like one of those things. I know we're going to see the odds, and the fight to go the distance is going to be plus 1,100, and there's just no way, right? There's just no way. So I think it's going to be a finish. I think Tom Aspinall's a little more dynamic than Sergey. I think he can grapple. I think he's a little bit lighter on the feet. He moves on the feet a lot like a Cyril Gane. He's really fluid for his size. Sergey, the hand speed's terrific. The footwork is actually no comment on that. He kind of blitzes forward, and the hand speed's terrific. If he's able to get Aspinall backed up against the fence in a pocket, it's of course going to be super dangerous. But I like Aspinall just to be able to shoot down quickly and grab a double leg on Sergey Pavlovich. I think he's just a little bit faster, and we're going to see that in the fight, not from a hand speed perspective, but just from or even a boxing perspective, just like a movement standpoint. I just think he's going to be much more dynamic, and I'm going to pick Tom Aspinall to win this fight. It's a pick 'em. I like Tom Aspinall. Let's see what the odds makers. Yeah, so plus 700 that the fight does go the distance. I mean, it's not going the distance. Tom Aspinall. Man, I kind of like the submission victory simply because of the odds there that I'm seeing posted on the screen. And I do think Tom is a really smart fighter and has good IQ, so I think he could put together more of a grapple-heavy game plan and could potentially be in a spot where he could get a submission. We've seen him attack Kimuras. We've seen him attack I've seen him attack Kimuras. I'm just seeing like what else these 3 submissions have come through. Rear naked choke, armbar, heel hook. He's a good martial artist, so I'm gonna roll with Tom in this fight. Yuri Prochazka taking on Alex Pereira. Yuri 3-0 in the UFC. You know, both of these guys, it's kind of crazy. I think Alex was 4-0 when he got his first shot against Izzy, right? No, he was 3-0. Beat Izzy to go in 4-0. Lost to go to 4-1, and then beat Jan to be at 5-1. It's just kind of crazy that both of these fighters have gotten to the title picture so quickly, but it's they had very tough opponents. The wins for Pereira, Blachowicz, Adesanya, Strickland, Silva, and then of course a loss to Adesanya. And then for Prochazka, Teixeira, was for the title. He had 2 fights. He beat Dominic Reyes and Volkan Ozdemir. 25 out of his 29 wins are finishes. He's got a very exciting style. And so does Alex. Alex is a tremendous striker. So this is for the 205-pound belt. It's kind of crazy how Yuri beat Glover, gets injured. Jan fights Ankalaev, draw. They give the title shot to Hill and Teixeira. Hill hurts his his Achilles. He's out, surrenders the belt. So now we got another vacant title. And Yuri's fighting for it against Alex Pereira. It's crazy. If you would have told me this last year, I would have been like, what? There's no way. If you would have told me that Alex is fighting Israel Adesanya after both of these guys, after 2-3 UFC fights, I would have been surprised. But they're both really dangerous fighters. This should be very entertaining, an exciting fight to watch. Stylistically, when I watch Yuri Prochazka, he's a warrior. He's tough, but like that fight approach of not blocking punches, I don't think that's a good idea. So I don't know. I mean, we've seen both of these guys get hurt, get knocked out before. Alex, obviously, more recently. Yuri doesn't go for takedowns, so I think this fight does play out on the feet, and the performance is important for Yuri, so I don't think he's going to try and force takedowns. I think he's going to fight his fight, and he's going to try to be very dynamic and sprint forward on the feet. I'm not I mean, I love watching him fight. I'm just not sure, like, if Yuri's approach and technique is the most sound. But he's a beast. He is a beast. I just think with the hands low, Alex Pereira in a 5-round fight eventually finds the chin. Again, this is another one I just don't think it's going to go the distance given the style of both of these fighters. And I'm going to go with Pereira to step up, become a 2-division champion. Not, double champ, but just have won the belt in 2 different divisions, which would be incredible. He is the favorite at -125. Odds makers don't like this to go the distance. I agree. I like the Pereira KO. I like the Yuri KO. I don't know. We'll see. I'm just really excited to watch these fights. If you want to, you can give me a follow on Twitter. I will try and post some fight pics. And let's see what's going on in the world. Huh? I'm not doing a mukbang. A streamer gets into a fight with another streamer while wearing MMA gloves, and it looks like he's getting beat up. Oh shit. Oh shit. They're in traffic now. Jeez. Who is this? I don't know either one of these guys, but...
Hey, chill, boys. Hey, chill. So you can sue me, you broke up. Hey, chill, boys. Oh, boys.
Why is he in MMA gloves? It's hilarious. He gets beat up, though. Skip Bayless claims he was named Athlete of the Year in 8th grade, earned the MVP title at a basketball camp that same year, then went on to lead his AAU team in scoring during his 9th grade year. Then came 10th grade, and then came a legendary coach at my high school. I don't know why, but he just did not like me, and right away he demoted me and demoted me and demoted me some more. He destroyed my confidence. Man. Skip is a vibe. We're going to stay away from the controversial topics, right? Because I'm sure that's always fucking trending. Yeah, I don't know, actually. I'm going to check the NBA scores here. We'll see how stuff's going. Oh, thank goodness. Philly takes the lead. Embiid with 2 blocks. Let's go. Where's Cunningham? Cunningham's at 19. I need him to get 1 more point. Otherwise, my same game parlay looking really good. Man, if Cade could get to the line or knock 1 more down, that'd be huge. I don't think... I'm just checking some other stuff. I think I did a big round robin. So I took some same game parlays, I'm just trying to think what my pull up what my picks were. I hope I stayed away from the Wizards and what the hell is going on? What is going on? Why is this set for November? ESPN's all wonky today. Alright, so today, let's see. Come on, just pull up my stuff. It's not pulling up. Anyways, I also did a same game. I gotta get expanded stats. Where are we going? Are we going to NBA.com? Or it's ridiculous. Yeah, so hopefully I'm not that bad. Ooh, Pistons scored a bucket. Who got that? Damn it. It wasn't Cade. He's probably taken out now, isn't he? Maybe not. Could hit a couple threes. It's a 7-point game. There's over 2.5 left. I think I took the Celtics. Took the T-Wolves. I said that I think Gobert would have a double-double. He's at 6 and 4. And then I said Edwards would have 20 or more, finish with 20 or more. He's at 12. And then I think Victor, I said, would have 2 or more blocks, and he's at 2. So, we'll see. I don't think I did Jazz Grizzlies. I think I might have did the Rockets at plus money. Just because they've won 4 straight games. Zion's back for the Pelicans. That's interesting. He had been hurt. I think I went with Houston in that game. I took the Mavs just because the Clippers are... I don't know how you fit, honestly, a James Harden into that offense. It just was a stupid trade. He's 3 for 3 today, 2 for 2 from 3, 6 of 6 from the line with 14 points. Like, he's a terrific player, but I don't get the move. I really don't get the move, but whatever. I think I went with OKC, and then there was some sort of promo for Durant and James to combine for over 50 on Draftkings, so I did that. All right, that's going to conclude this week's episode of KO Bets. Thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe to the channel, like the stream. I appreciate your support tremendously. Have a great weekend.